They went to a quieter place. It turns out the hunter wanted to repay Kiryu for saving him, and asked if there was any way to do it. He had been feeling uneasy about his disappearance the whole time, since he saved his life. MC thought that back then, he was just running away to avoid being caught by the police, but it would be a waste to refuse the help off. In A rank, he took out his phone and told him that he had an idea, which made the guy very happy. He showed him that point on the map and asked if he could go to the gate with him. Of course, he agreed, and they went to the right place. The atmosphere was very gloomy, and Kiryu, noticing the thoughtful expression on Yunong's face, asked what was wrong. He told him that it was fine, and MC suggested that he speed up a little as they walked. The hunter kept looking at them and thought that he couldn't believe it. No matter how much he thought about it, how could such an amazing hunter be in F rank? A little earlier, when he agreed to help him, he said that it was a great honor to enter the gate. Was such a hunter, is he going to look for materials? He told him it would be a simple monster hunt, and he happily asked if he could learn a few tricks from him, realizing that he had high expectations for him. Kiryu sighed and said that there was a misunderstanding. The guy didn't understand what he was talking about, and when he showed him his hunter card, who was shocked, he said that in order to be given permission to enter the gate, he would register as a porter and he would go with him. Yun still didn't believe that he was such a low rank, and remembered that he heard something midden. Strong hunters are forcibly sent to suppress dungeon breakthroughs, so there are rumors of people hiding there. True R rank. To avoid pressure from the association, it seems like he is hiding his rank to by this point. They had already arrived at the gate, and MC looked down and said that he found this. It looked the same on the internet. In front of them was a huge flaming crater where monsters were frolicking. Yonin looked at them and said that this was a flame spitter. Some time ago, there was a translation error in the analyzer. These monsters were originally discovered in Ohio. It was a bat, engulfed in flames, so they wanted to enter it into the Pixie system as Firebat. But due to a translation error, the name was adapted as Flame Spitter. MC noted that he was well aware of this, and suddenly, the monsters heard their conversation and became very active. Seeing this, Yunnan became a little nervous, and then a pillar of fire rose from the crater, and the bats began to fly everywhere. They surrounded the two hunters, and Mick reached into the bag with his hand, and then Yunsung asked what he was so interested in what was in this bag. He looked at the monsters flying straight at them, and then threw an absorbent at them, causing their wings to immediately burst into flames, and they screamed loudly, then fell down at the same time. Kiryu told the hunter that this was an item that was suitable for situations like this. The effectiveness was guaranteed. Yun looked at the monsters in surprise, and said that he didn't want to distract him from hunting, but he was curious about something. Why would he use items? C-rank monsters can be caught with bare hands. Mick looked at him unthought. Did this guy read his hunter's license or not, or is he just stupid? I guess from the top of a rank, you can't see how hard it is for low-ranking hunters, but he doesn't want to show his weakness. Once again, he asked, has he ever thought about the nature of awakening itself? People lift a ton truck, fill the parched land with water, literally hanging the environment, but these skills are not obtained through effort. They just fell on them. If there was Nora-san to appear, then there is no need for a reason to disappear. He believes that this power is undeserved, so he is not going to rely only on the abilities of the awakened. He hoped that he would believe this nonsense, and Yunsung's mouth fell open in shock. Hearing his wise speech, he burst into tears, and said that he was absolutely right. Whiten it. Think of this himself. What is obtained without any effort can disappear at any time. Did he really hope these skills would help him all his life? Kiryu was even surprised that it worked, and the hunter enthusiastically said that the mutations of the dungeons are becoming more and more unpredictable. It is better to prepare for the gates in which the skills of the awakened cannot be used. He took his hand and said with eyes shining with delight that he was looking for easy ways to train, but he had already foreseen everything. Suddenly, a terrible thought came to his mind, and covered his mouth with his hands in shock, after which he said that people with a high awakening level feel power in their gut. Everyone gets goosebumps around S-rank hunters, but there is practically no aura emanating from him, just like a fly. MC looked at him in shock, and thought, did he call the best mage of Alpha Wari a fly? Yoon asked did train his power control so hard that he learned to hide his mana. He had never seen anything like this in his life. Meanwhile, Kiryu tried to calm down. This is just an individual. of a primitive species, and yet this thought did not make him feel better. It turns out that the rank of awakened ones directly depends on the amount of mana. So be it, he confirmed the hunter's words, and as soon as they finished their business, they returned to the city and decided to have a snack. Yunang excitedly asked if he suddenly wanted to go on a raid again. He would invite him, right? Curio didn't understand why he had repaid the debt after all, and he told him that he could learn a lot with him around. To be honest, his team fell apart because of the recent incident. Not even half a year has passed since his awakening. Hunting alone was dangerous. He had little experience, and forming a new team was difficult. Mick thought that he hadn't forgotten his comrade's betrayal, so it was understandable he agreed to invite him to a raid again, but warned him that he wouldn't save him. If something happened, he had to protect himself. He didn't have the ability to cover for him. All that time, in the worst case their working together would only hurt. He decided to tell him what his mistake was during the golem incident, and he meanwhile looked at him with admiration and thought that he was so kind. He was afraid that he might get hurt if he relaxed next to him, right? They continued chatting. The food was already finished, and they headed forth. Exit. Yoon opened the door for him and asked how old he was when they walked out of the burger joint together. He pointed at himself with a smile and said that he was years old. Then MC wondered how old he was while he was taking out his ID. Yun offered to exchange numbers with him then. Curio showed his ID card to his face, and he asked in surprise. He was years old, only a year age difference. He got very flustered and apologized to him, saying that he didn't mean to be rude to him. He seemed so calm and mature, so he thought was much older. His question made MC think about his stay in this world. He has no memories of his studies there, were no contacts in the phone. Who was the owner of this body, and what was his life like? That same evening, a hunter named Kong Chenho was chilling at his house. He was sitting on the couch, watching TV, which was currently showing news about the dungeon mutation phenomenon. The Hunter Association said they can't explain the increase in the number of such cases in the country. Even high-ranking appraisers couldn't determine the cause of this phenomenon. For this reason, the citizens' concerns are starting to grow. Time passed. Yesterday, while they were eating, Rhea called Yoon and offered him to take a look at something cool. He has a priority pass to the new gate. MC agreed. He worshipped, although he didn't show it. How could he refuse an offer that started with something cool? In Korea, the new gate is only open to the research team, and after the association checks it, they open it to everyone. And today is Theo Panning Day. There were rumors that an unknown plant was found inside. Who knows, maybe it will be the key to restoring his magic. It should be near the entrance, so he will just check it and leave. When they arrived at the place, they stood nearby and began to observe the portal. At that moment, MC noticed that there were so many people. Are they all Gunjin side? The passers-by recognized Yun and gradually began to gather around, and he told Kurio that most of the people were ordinary onlookers and journalists, but he also did not expect to see such a crowd. Suddenly a loud sound was heard. The MC turned around. A luxurious red sports car drove up to them, and a hunter named Ken Changho got out, who greatly surprised everyone by his appearance here. Curio asked who he was, and Yun Sung told him that he was an S-rank hunter of 3 in the entire country. MC took a closer look at him and noticed that he had incredibly stable mana among people. He was like the greatest diamond. Suddenly, Chanho noticed his intense gaze and looked at him with his sparkling green eyes. Mick noticed this and asked what was wrong with him. Yunan whispered to him that these were the eyes of Adragon, an incredibly rare item. Seeing the hunter coming here, he became very nervous. Changho walked up to Curio and asked his name, and when he reluctantly said it, he wanted to ask about his rank, but Yoon intervened. He greeted the hunter nervously and said that he was just his porter, nothing special. Does he have some business with him? Changho gave him a displeased look and said that he was not talking to him, which made the guy feel really uneasy, and Mick told him that who was an F rank this made Jungho laugh, and MC looked at him suspiciously, thinking did he sense his innate abundance of mana? The lungs are just an excretory organ. Even severe damage to the lungs does not reduce the amount of mana in the body. Apparently, this mage is at such a level that he can sense the strength of the enemy, even from the smallest signals. He offered to show him his license, and Chanho asked, does he mean that some Frank is able to talk and look an S rank straight in the eye? He wanted to offer him something, but Yoon intervened nervously, pushing Curio forward and saying that they came to admire and it was time for them to leave if they didn't go. Now they would lose at their reservation in line. MC asked, "What about exploring the gate?" The guy asked him to hurry up, and he, after taking one last look at Chenho, wandered after the guy Yan Sung asked. Did he really not know who it was? Did he really live in any other country? Remembering his previous life, he told him that he came from far away, after which the guy said that he didn't want to seem like a gossip, but this hunter doesn't have the best reputation. MC was curious about Wyant. He told him about the attack incident. No one would want to enter the gate with an S-rank criminal, but even without that, the current rumors about him are terrible. Kira was curious about what exactly happened, and told him Thath had a cousin Cho Jin, the third number among the A ranks. She entered the same gate with Chong. Hoenn was attacked by him. From what he heard, he loves to challenge strong awakened ones. Mick covered the lower part of his face to hide his smile and thought, so he took him away from there to protect him. What a cute mammal. He agreed to skip a day, and suggested that he look at the new plant tomorrow. Then an idea suddenly came to his mind. He stopped and asked, "Didn't he say that he had dragon eyes? Is this an item? Does this mean that it can be exchanged?" He told him that it was originally a small ball, he thinks. Chenho absorbed it to use it. Curio asked if there were dragon lungs, and he decided to check. He found information about it on his phone, and said that there were only completed transactions. It was not for sale. Now lungs aren't the most popular body part, but they always appear on the market. Curio looked at his phone and asked what the price was. He told him that, unlike the eyes or heart, they don't increase your mana. Even Theliver has a special effect. You can make medicine out of it. He looked up the price for lungs, and it turned out to be billion. Mick was pretty calm about it, but when he realized what Yoon just said, he looked at him in shock, and he happily asked, "That's cheap, right? You can't buy other dragon parts for that kind of money." Curio meanwhile shed a tear, and realized that he shouldn't have asked that. After that he caught a taxi in Hith Road while they were driving. He decided to read up on Chungho, and thought that the more he learned about him, the scarier he seemed. He can't believe that such psychos can walk down the street without any problems. Maybe he should avoid his gaze. What if he starts bothering him? Suddenly a roar was heard behind them. A red sports car hit the taxi in the back, causing MC to be pushed forward, and the car to be pulled to the side. The driver barely managed to regain control, and stopped, after which headed to his passenger, and asked worriedly, "Is he okay?" Curio, who fell from the seat, hesitantly confirmed this, after which the taxi driver jumped out of the car and shouted in rage, "Where did he buy his license? Let him get out off the car." Immediately, Chanho got out of the car and apologized to him with a smile, saying that he hadn't driven for a long time, so he confused the gas with the brake. Mick also got out. He was quite surprised to see this guy. Chanho immediately approached him and greeted him with a smile, saying that he would like to resolve this quickly and offer Red to exchange contacts. Curio looked at him with displeasure and thought, "Is he crazy? How bad do you have to be to cause an accident on an empty road?" The taxi driver standing next to him, realizing who was in front of him, started shaking with fear and said that anything can happen. It was enough to pay for the repairs. Changho gave him the money, and he bowed deeply to him, thanking him for it, and MC wondered how much was there. After that, the hunter handed Curio his phone and asked him to write down his contact information. He gave him all the cash so they would have Veto talk about his medical expenses. Later, Mech didn't understand what he was trying to say at all. Is this really how Earthlings solve problems with accidents? If he only needed his number, then he didn't mind. He wrote down his number in his phone and took a closer look at it. He is the only son of the owner of a large company, a hunter with a silver spoon in his mouth. He once got a criminal record for assault before he was even awakened. Everyone thought that with that much money, he would find a good lawyer and be able to avoid imprisonment, but in the end he ended up in prison. There were many accounts of him attacking other people on the internet, but the biggest scandal was another one. His parents died during a dungeon breakthrough a few years ago. He sold all of his company's shares. Right after that incident, it was a liquidation of the family. Business people started spreading rumors because the exact time of his awakening was unknown. Some believed that he killed his own parents for money, but it was never proven. Changho snapped him out of his thoughts, saying that it was strange that A person like him would waste his time working as a porter. Is he going to keep looking after that chicken? He returned to his car and sat on the hood, saying that Heckle offered him a job that paid very good money. So is he interested in it? He was very interested in it, although he didn't show it, and said that he didn't mind listening to him. Chung-ho offered him to work for him instead of that guy's porter. He would get % of the profits and items from the gate. Kiryu was surprised and thought, what kind of absurd conditions are these? Is he serious? The S-rank hunter could definitely notice Kiryu's huge manorizer V's. It is likely that the potential of this body exceeds even the S-rank when he gains the ability to use magic again. This planet will come under his control. He crossed his arms and told him that he would hardly be able to enter an S-rank gate, so it would be hard for him to work with him, but the hunter did not let him finish and asked what rank 8, considering his level, he would never take him into high ranking dungeons. This made MC confused and asked, didn't he approach him because of his potential to awaken? Chang-ho raised one eyebrow in confusion. He did not understand what he was talking about at all and said that he was offering to take him under his wing. In other words, would become his sponsor. Kiryu felt very awkward. He apologized to him, explaining that he had misunderstood Avaranthi in the first place, and the hunter asked if he would agree to his proposal before agreeing. MC decided to ask what his interest was in this deal, and the guy just smirked in response. Kiryu felt uneasy from his actions. Right now, he really missed Yun Sung. He soon met him and told him everything, and he exclaimed in surprise. He got into an accident, and Jung-ho was driving. He confirmed it, and said that he quickly left from there, saying that he had an appointment with him. In fact, he is almost sure that he deliberately caused this accident. Yun pointed out that it seems like he really is looking for strong hunters. He avoided trouble thanks to him. Even an A rank like him can become his target next to him. He does not stand out so much, and if Chung-ho did something, he would definitely stand up for him. But MC wasn't listening anymore. He was thinking about what to do next. Call the police, but what would heddle them help an as rank hunter is threatening to protect me and give me % of all his prey. He imagined how the police would react to this, and decided not to attach much importance to it. Yoon asked, had he been watching TV this morning? Last year Korea ranked second in gate management. Although the mutation problem is still serious, the damage to the population has decreased significantly. The news said that they will soon be able to defeat this Dester. Kiryu glanced at him and noticed that he has a good sense of picking the right topics. He himself is interested in gates, which remain an unknown concept. Years ago, a mistake occurred on this planet. Gates monsters and awakened ones appeared. The principles of magic are based on the use of mana from the planet's core. The Earth differs from Alpha, or I, in that there is a layer of hard rock that prevents mana from reaching the surface, but the gates that appeared became some kind of wells or holes for mana to seep through, and some people were affected by them and became awakened, but the principles of the gates are not very clear to high Marthlings. Did not create these strange spaces intentionally, and inside, they are teeming with previously unseen creature as extremely hostile monsters. If this is not Earth technology or Alpha Ori, then woes is it? While he was thinking about this, Yoon tried to call him, and still managed to tear him out of his thoughts and asked if he was feeling unwell. MC apologized to him, explaining that he was lost in thought. He was trying to put himself in the place of the one who could create all these gates, and he thinks that he would. Not like the current situation, the motives aren't out, but the monsters have a clear goal to kill people. The magical items in this scheme are bait, just like cheese, Ona, mousetrap. If mice learn to escape with cheese, wouldn't the person who set the trap be angry? Yansun thoughtful remark that it made sense, and suddenly Kiryu shuddered because he felt something energy was boiling under his feet, like lava. He quickly looked around and noticing light blue streams in the air realized that it was mana and immediately rushed towards Youngsung and pushed him away from himself. Watching the growing flashes, the boy became worried, and when a huge column of mana shot into the sky, he worriedly called out to Kiryu, who was sucked right into epicenter. Soon he woke up, but in a different place. In front of him was a long white corridor, and he quickly looked around, wondering, is this a gate? Meeting a strong monster in such a place would be tantamount to death. Honeydead to get out of here, but how will he escape with a body that can't even use simple magic? Walking further, he came across massive doors and a stone tablet with something written on it. Suddenly footsteps were heard from both sides, and he turned around, seeing Chang-ho and an unknown hunter. They both walked to the center of the room, and Chang-ho greeted second hunter with a smile. His name is Jong-hong. He said that he hoped Thoth would not return from Singapore for a long time, and he answered him that he arrived today. After watching them, Kiria thought that they did not look like close friends and asked if they knew each other. Chung-ho asked in confusion, does he not know Hong MC? Answered him in his mind that he arrived on Earth just recently. How would he know about them? Realizing that this was true, Chung-ho leaned towards Taeyong with a smirk and mockingly said that he did not know him. He should work harder on the media, he told Kirio that he was an S-rank hunter and also a top ranker. In Korea, McQua's surprised he didn't expect him to be such an important person. Shang-ho continued saying that everyone used molecules him a national hero, but he won't tell you more since he doesn't know. He introduced them, and Kirio, noticing his, wondered why he was looking at him like that. Hoon suggested leaving the proper introduction for another. Timothy were also suddenly sucked into this space, weren't they? They both nodded, and he pressed the button on his bracelet, clicking up the system window. The MC thought, is this an analyzer? What an elegant design. The bracelet showed him information about where they were now, and Taeyong said that now he could say with certainty that they were in the gate, but they were X-rank, so they had problems. Kirio remembered that he once read about this rank and decided to look up the information on the internet, but his phone wasn't working. Chang hawked his phone and said he didn't bring a protective case. Either the phone will be ruined if they don't get out quickly. Whom noticed that there was something written on the slab. The symbol of true faith will be the key. Is this a hint to clear this gate, since they can only go through this door in front of them? Now they got down to business. Huyon pressed the door with both hands, but heckled him to open it, and Chang-ho noticed that it didn't move, even an inch. Hasong asked him for help since he couldn't open it alone, and the guy waved his hand and reluctantly agreed. After that he approached him, and they exchanged glances, and then Hyun's hand lying on the door caught fire, and the flames quickly spread. Chang-ho in turn used his abilities and hit the door with all his might. Seeing their abilities, Kirio was very surprised. S-rank mages occupy a special place among humanity which is influenced by mana, and these are people who are endowed with exceptional talent and have monstrous abilities. Even they can't open the passage. Seeing that nothing has changed, Chang-ho sighed and pointed out that brute force won't help here. Even Hon-young was surprised that their attack didn't work. Meanwhile, Kirio decided to look for another way. He turned around and looked at the lion statue and said that they have an Otheropsian. The hunters approached it, and Chang-ho, looking at the lion's mouth, turned to the guys with a smirk and said that this mouth is just asking to be put a hand in it. They remained silent.